What's going on, NFTV family? This your host 44K. The K stand for Kincaid, man. I'm so happy to have you guys back checking in on another video. I want to thank all the people that have followed the channel. I want to thank all the listeners that have tapped in on one of my videos that has my first video to ever reach over 100 views. So I appreciate that greatly. But without me going any further, make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, get down in those comments, and start a conversation with me. Ask some questions, tell me some things that you want me to talk about, and turn on that notification bell so you know when I'm dropping more content. But today we're going to have a little serious conversation, because one thing I've learned in life, if you don't stand on something, you will fall for anything. And America as a society has to begin to stand on some things. I think we've become a little bit too liberal in our beliefs and our actions, how we are growing as a society, evolving as a society. And tolerance is needed, but tolerance needs to have a level, a limit. It's a certain level of discretion that's needed as parents, as a society, and I think we're starting to get a little bit carried away. I think in the past, you have certain groups, you have the civil rights movement, people had to learn to be tolerant of individuals of different races and accept them into the communities and things like that. You had the gay movement and their movement, and you had to learn to be tolerant of people who are homosexuals, who are attracted to same sex and things like that. Barack Obama signed a bill where they can get married and not be judged throughout society. So they've had growth in their movement. You have now, we're dealing with the trans movement. But when it comes to this next phase of the trans movement, that's when I begin to question, are we beginning to lose hold of the plot when it comes to tolerance? Are we beginning to be tolerant of too much? Are our politicians seeking power and seeking to align with anything and go against morals and go against common sense just to seem like they're inclusive to everyone? So that's where we're going to start off at today, and then I'm going to kind of make a bridge between something that was going on a few years ago that everybody was up in arms about in America and through Western civilization. And then I'm going to ask you, what exactly is the difference that what we're doing here in America now to what they were doing over there and still are doing over there in certain parts of this continent. So let's get it going. Let's check out this video.
Gender kids, it's a really harder thing. What's going on in Florida is, as my mother would say, close to sinful. I mean, it's just terrible what they're doing. It's not like, a kid wakes up one morning and says, I decided I want to become a man, or I want to become a woman.
But that's exactly what kids are doing, because kids are known to do that. Kids are known to go through, in the past, kids were allowed to go through phases. You could go through a phase. It was phases when little boys were soft and then they had to toughen up. It was phases when little girls were tomboys and then they became more feminine as they got older, as they got comfortable in their bodies and things like that. So in the past, that was allowed. Now it seems that if a boy is a little bit feminine when he's younger, he doesn't have any male role models, or he's not playing any sports or anything like that, they automatically assume that the little boy is gay, or they automatically assume that the little boy is trans, and they're being brainwashed on these different platforms to believe so. They're being brought into this realm, and they're being fed this information like the reason why they feel this way is because they are uncomfortable in their bodies. But everybody knows when you're going through puberty, you're going to be uncomfortable in your body. Your body's growing, your muscles are expanding, you're not comfortable with your body, your hormones are changing. All these things are changing that have you questioning certain things. So in the past, we would allow children to be children until they're at a certain age, and then you can make those life decisions once you're at a certain age. But now everyone wants to be so tolerant and open to anything and everything that you have situations like this where the actual president of the United States is making a asinine statement like, you act like kids just wake up and make this decision. They do just wake up and make the decision. They're kids. But let's keep going.
I want to change. I mean, what are they thinking about here? They're human beings. They love, they have feelings, they have inclinations that are, I mean, it just to me is, I don't know, it's cruel. And the way we do it is we make sure we pass legislation like we passed on same-sex marriage. You mess with that, you're breaking the law, and you're going to be held accountable.
So you want to actually codify legislation that will allow children to take chemical castration for children, to where if a parent disagrees with a child getting this done to them, then they would be breaking the law. If a doctor's office refuses to perform this type of procedure on a child, he can be sued or held accountable for breaking the law. Is this where we're at in society? Have we strayed this far that we're right here in society where this man, this president, who doesn't seem to stand on anything, he goes where the wind takes him, where the most quote unquote oppressed people are, and he thinks that he can give statements like this to gain their vote? Then where are we really in today's society? Because a lot of people don't know, when you're dealing with chemical castrations, you're dealing with these puberty blockers and different things like that, you're never going to live the life of the opposite sex that you're trying to become. You're never going to be able to reach a level of pleasure that you normally get when you have intercourse with the opposite sex, because that is taken away with these chemical castrations and these different things. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you about that. If you're someone who wanted to have a baby or something like that, or you begin to grow facial hair as a female, your muscles expand, all this different type of stuff comes from the testosterone and the things that you're taking. And then as you get older, you realize like this was just a phase. It's hard for those things to reverse. It's hard for you to roll those things back. And your body is never going to just restart back on puberty because you took these puberty blockers. You're messing with your biological chemistry with synthetic drugs, and they are trying to codify this into law for children. And you have situations in certain parts of the country where children are allowed to go into schools and tell their teacher one thing and then tell their parents another thing, and the teachers are allowed to keep that a secret. What are we really doing here when this is my child? You know what I'm saying? This is your child. Where are we coming where the state is allowed to make these type of decisions for the parent as if they own the parent? And I just find that just extremely, extremely vile that this man would get up there on camera and actually say he's willing to codify that into law. He's willing to say that it's sinful not to let a child make a decision to that level. And then I just feel disgust and sympathy for, not even sympathy, just major disgust towards the guy interviewing him, because he doesn't get any pushback. Because if somebody says, oh, why would children just get up and make a decision like this? Then you push back and say, hey man, kids may go through whims all the time. Kids, I thought I could fly when I was young. I jumped down the stairs and hurt my arm and my jaw. You have kids who think they're superheroes, dinosaurs, alligators, all these different type of things when they're kids. But as their brain matures and they grow older and they become more comfortable, then they have a better understanding of self. But that guy then, he just wanted to look like he's deep. There's no pushback. Everybody just wants to buy in, be on the bandwagon. That's cool though. But it's just something that, you know, annoys me. It's something I wanted to bring to my audience and see what you all think. But let's go to this video I have pulled up right here, right? So I'm not going to play a lot of it because it's kind of graphic, but you can see in the, well, let's see.
Is carried out in my community.
So this video here talks about female genitalia mutilation. So in certain tribes, this is on the continent of Africa, they used to remove certain aspects of the female genitalia, and it was tradition and it was a part of their culture. Now, this is something that went all the way to United Nations and is frowned upon. Is frowned upon when this became a world known issue. You had major people speaking out against this, and this was previously to this transgender movement in Western civilization, and now this movement of allowing kids to have gender affirming surgeries. So those of you that don't know, gender affirming surgeries, you are basically doing the same thing that these people are doing over here. It's more, for lack of a better term, it's more civilized in the way that it's handled because it's handled by health professionals, but the overall outcome is the same almost. You know, so you have the overall outcome of the mutilization of children's bodies, children who are not fully aware of what's going on. You have children who might look forward to this type of thing because they were raised to believe this was the right thing to do. But then you have other individuals who are thinking with logic and reason and understand that no matter when this is performed, it's wrong. But let's just hear what she says a little bit, and then we'll close out the video.
Genital mutilation is an atrocity which destroys the lives of young girls who grow up to be women in physical agony, forever haunted, variation of their bodies which was imposed upon them by the people who believe in Asian, distorted traditional. You see, it is a custom for a very young female child to be lured in a village hut by the women who are and have been suffering this injustice as much as the poor child will now face its life. Using blunt.
So that's what it is mutilation. And a lot of these children, and that's the crazy thing, because a lot of these children in Western civilization are being lured into the hut, let's say, and they're being lured and they're being manipulated on these social media apps to believe that, hey, this is the right thing to do, not knowing that they have a lifelong road of pain and agony. You have healthy young women, healthy young girls getting double hysterectomies at very young ages. So this is not, they don't have breast cancer, they don't have tumors forming in their breast or anything like that, but they're getting double hysterectomies at young as 13 years old. You have teenage girls getting double hysterectomies who will live with those scars for the rest of their life, never be able to have those scars removed. And it's an actual atrocity. It's an actual atrocity. Like, they don't have in this part of the world, they don't have the marketing and the PR and the social media sites and the activists to be able to get behind this and pump it out to their citizens and make it more acceptable like we do in Western civilization. But at the end of the day, the end outcome for these children is the exact same thing. It's agony, it's discomfort. A lot of these kids are dealing with depression, anxiety. A lot of these kids have body dysmorphia, and instead of us as the adults in the room saying, hey, let's lean on the therapist, let's lean on the psychologist to actually get an understanding on what's going wrong with them mentally, why do they feel like this, we automatically force them into this lane, and then we try to grandstand on their trauma and their mental illness to seem like we are so inclusive and accepting. You know, at the end of the day, children are children, and children should be allowed to be children. Children should be allowed to go through their phases, and we should, as parents, talk to these kids and understand why do they feel the way they feel. We shouldn't be promoting this type of behavior in Africa or America or any other Western civilized country. So that's my piece on this. Tell me what you guys think. I hope that you guys and your arenas are speaking out against this, protecting these children out here from people that are trying to manipulate their brain. I'm your host, 44K. K stands for King K. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the video, turn on that notification bell so when I drop content on a daily basis, you're notified first. And I appreciate y'all. God bless. Good night.